What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Run It Up to the Moon Week with the one and only dmoongirl. What's going on?
It wouldn't be much of a Run It Up to D-Moon Week if I was just like, sorry, Jason, I got shit to do. I'm not coming.
Yeah, that's right. I was by myself. It was in your honor.
Like I would miss it.
Yeah, come on, please. So we've had not a great to the moon trip. It hasn't been a direct to the moon trip just yet. We're stuck like $90 right now, but it's okay. It's all right.
We got time.
We've got hope. You know, all it takes is hope. So we're in for this table for $50. Hopefully, we'll be able to spin it up and run it up to the Moon Week. You know, on a positive note.
I bet the first person that tried to fly to the moon probably didn't make it, right?
Right, exactly. But it's still worth the trying. It's worth the experience, right?
Yeah.
Ain't no thing. So this time, in this session, I'm obviously the one that I'm playing. I'm the one controlling the mouse. It'll be my responsibility if we win or lose.
I like it better that way. I just like to like
just wanna,
back and
it's
relax.
much better to be perched and commentating.
To be the like silent judge over here.
Yeah. I'll just let that one go. I actually defend that out of in position. I feel like the real no limit wizard superstars like to defend their in position with ace 8 when they raise and someone raises them out of position. But I think out of position, not a great hand, guy I don't really know very well.
We can let it go.
Take my dollar and whatever.
Yeah,
see if I give a hoot. So how you doing, dmoongirl?
I'm great.
How
are you?
I love your choice of clothing. I feel like I could have dressed similarly and we could have had a much more like warm and snuggly
I need to tell you
by
guys
the fireplace.
that I wore this specific shirt today because yesterday when I was here, Jason was wearing matching pajama pants.
I was.
And I was kind of hoping he'd have them on and we could
be matching.
You know, we'd really have something going here. But
that's right.
Alas, he's just wearing
I changed
boring
clothes.
Shorts.
Yes, alas.
He was trying to be polite. He was like, "Oh, I better at least change clothes so I don't look
like
a total scrub." But.
Listen, I don't want to ruin. I only have one female friend, so I want to put a lot of effort into making sure it grows. You know, like having like one plant, in a pot. That's how I feel about our relationship. So I wanted to put the max effort in. Let's defend here with the Queen 3 of clubs. That is about just as little as we can flop and still improve, I think. Him checking behind seems like a pretty good thing. I feel like if he had a decent diamond, we would have heard about it on the flop, and there's no reason we can't have a decent diamond. All we did was call pre-flop, so...
Easy game.
I bluff you. With my bottom pair. That's right. We're only a sweet, like 50 cents and change away from profit.
Hey,
how exciting is that?
At this rate, we'll be beating our last sessions.
That's right. Oh, they're trying to give us a seat, but we're not interested in second seats. I am excited to do some multi-tabling videos next week for you guys, though. Don't worry. The real multi-tabling madness week is the next thing that we're off to.
That's the next theme. You're
graduating
from
2 tables, 4
running
tables,
up to D-Moon to multi-table madness.
Multi-tabling madness. That's the next thing on the list for you guys. Look at that 7 cents profit we're already at right now. All right, I'm gonna raise to $1.08. That's it. It's all about trying to find
You're
the optimal...
that guy, aren't you?
No, I'm really not that guy. But this is the first time I've ever raised to $1.08, I think, ever in my life. But I'm certainly going to be calling this 292 here. I don't love this situation, but I feel like, sometimes we actually have the best hand. Sometimes we can just get there. We win the pot other times. Whatever. I'm not in the business of folding hands as beautiful as ace-7 suited.
On the button.
On the button, in position. This is not a thing I do here, especially against like ninja avatars. Those guys are shiesty. So I like to raise in this spot because I believe that this player will fold hands better than ace high sometimes. Might fold hands like pocket nines. Might fold hands like ace jack would be sweet to have fold. And yeah, there you go. It's so easy.
Easy.
It's so easy. It's like hunting elephants.
Should we just quit? Should we call it right now?
Yeah, we could just quit $8. The only issue is we're still stuck $80 for run up to the Moon Week. I told people we'd try to get over 1,000. We have to win. We have to be plus $40 to be over 1,000.
All right. Well, we're all right. We're off to a good start here.
That's right. We'll do it.
Our hourly rate.
That's right. We'll get this done. Don't worry. Mitt Romney to our right. That guy can't be any good.
I like that screen name though.
I love the name and avatar combination.
Do you have like a favorite screen name that like?
Lifetime ever. I have to think about it. I'm sure there are some really good ones lifetime. I've seen some great ones in Ultimate Poker.
Gosh.
Mitt Romney is definitely one of the best ones as far as like creative, but
that's pretty solid.
The real smart ones are ones that combine avatar and the name together.
Like multi-level.
Yeah, those are the ones that are really good. But
I don't know if it was the best that I've like ever seen, but there was one on a site I used to play on that was Ron Jeremy on your face. And I just laughed every time I saw it. Like, that's kind of funny,
Nice.
isn't it? Like,
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
But
I bet you that people in the comments will be writing all their best ones, and they'll have pictures and things like that. You should tweet at dmoongirl and
Yeah,
and send us your favorites. I think that's the social media whoring thing to do here. I'm trying to get better at that, you know. So
sometimes I wish my screen name was a little more like edgy creative.
Edgy creative.
Because I put like zero thought into it when I signed up.
I always feel really bad for the guys who are like 18 years old and don't know what they're doing, just like playing poker for fun, and then they make a name that's like something absolutely, you know, like Fart Muncher 69, and they turn out to be an awesome poker player,
Right.
and that's their name. They're known for life.
Yeah, no, I feel like I actually like really luckbox because it could
Exactly.
have been really bad.
Exactly. I feel the same way.
When
With
I made
JCarver,
my
it's very
screen name, I put
reasonable.
zero thought into it. I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm doing this registration process. I'm putting on $50 online.
Right.
Like, whatever.
D, Moon, and the girl.
My first name starts with a D. My last name is Moon. I'm a girl.
Oh, girl. There you go. There you go. I look like this hand went pretty well for us. So pre-flop I raised, and then flop I check called because sometimes I do that, you know, just because people don't always necessarily fold better hands and
This
so
wolf
on and
guy
so
here,
forth,
he's liking to get into.
yeah, he wants to mess around
Hands
with
with
us.
us, it
We could have
seems.
checked river, given him a chance to bluff. I don't really think he has very much there, but I also feel like, what do we have? We raised pre, check called flop, turned an ace. What are we doing? So I don't feel like he's necessarily going to bluff so much. We meet again, Lord Carver. Nice to have you back, says Wolf51. That's right.
Lord, when did I miss when you became Lord?
Lord Carver. Yes.
Christ.
I in the lost video where we got blue screens of death out of the middle of it, I was actually about to tell the people at home what I would do if I was Lord Protector of the poker realm. We were about to talk about how I would change everything to eight-handed. Eight-handed was so good.
Oh, that's right. I was advocating for 6.
You were advocating for 6, but
Yep.
all that footage is lost because we got blue screened at some point.
I wish
there,
that there would have
so-
been a video on us when that blue screen came up.
Yeah, an alternative
were
back
like-
feed. Yeah.
It was a pretty sad. We were sad pandas over here.
Yeah, I've obviously been recording, you know, for years, and I've never had it blue screen during a recording. Never mind one that I had a guest for, which is obviously way worse in terms of like it's obviously
and it was a good
frustrating.
stream. It was like a good one too. You know, felt like we were on a roll. We were.
But I told you I recovered half.
Yeah,
most
yeah,
of
you
that.
recovered it. But I was
Yeah,
just saying, like
yeah.
at the time when we
Made
didn't
very
know,
tight
it was
folds,
just
very
like
tight
more, you know.
Yeah, of course. Well, I actually thought that there was no chance we could recover it, but thanks to the powers of production magic, we were able to like. It was literally when the person that was helping me unravel the mystery of the video, when they were talking to me, it was like techno babble from 24. He's like, we gotta unwrap the codec and rewrap it around the like. It was. I've literally had no idea what was going
You
on.
could have offered me unlimited online database. Like you could have said, you can use Google as much as you want.
Nice.
And you could have given me a month, and you could have offered me $1 million
Wow.
to get that video back.
You couldn't have done
And
it.
I am drawing dead.
Well, you could have just taken the million and just
It is
found a
more
team.
likely that I jump out the window than it is
Wow.
that
Well,
I
that's not very
get that
hard.
video back. Well, no, what I mean
in
that I'm like
defense of that, that's
driven
really much
to the-
easier.
driven to the point of insanity. Like
Sure,
I'm
I
the
understand
worst.
that.
It's like reading a foreign language to me. I don't.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. Computers
That's
and
how I
tech.
felt about chemistry too.
I understand. I think we've talked about, for some reason I feel like you and I have talked about chemistry before as far as like as a topic, because chemistry was the first like class in school that I failed. I failed my final in chemistry. My teacher and I hated each other. We would scream at each other in class. She
You
was
really
the first
scream?
one. She was the first one to give me detention. She was the first teacher that I cursed at in class, but she started it.
What did you say?
I think I called her a dumb bitch or something like that.
Wow.
But she called me
Holy
something bad
cow.
first. She called me something bad first, and we were just yelling at each other. But it was very loving yelling. Like me and my mother has a very
dumb bitch
loving yelling.
loving. That's funny.
She started it. I would never disrespect a teacher like that.
No,
for
listen,
nothing.
it's
Come on,
okay.
I would never do that.
You
It
want to
was-
hear my like?
She threw
moment
out my
similar
final.
to yours?
Threw out my final. Threw it out. Made me retake it same day. Oh, I don't have your final. You have to retake it. Took it right then. Got a 30. That was it. That was
Like,
the end of my
She
scholastic
threw
career.
it like said that she lost it, or she.
So
threw
I
it,
attended. I attended the final, studied, attended, took it. 2.5 weeks later, I go in to get my grade, and she's like, "Oh, you never took it." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm here, and it says I was here. I don't have it. You have to retake it right now." What? I haven't studied. Nope. Grades have to be in tomorrow. Got to retake it right now. Took it.
Oh,
got a
no.
30. Got a 32. And that was the end of my chemistry career. And that's why.
Sad.
And that's why I'll never own my own meth lab, boys and girls. Right there.
We're gonna have to hire out for that.
That's why the mannequin will wear the gas mask.
I will admit that without the help of my husband, who was very good at science and math, I would never have passed chemistry and physics in college.
That's great.
Yeah, it worked out nicely because I'm good with words and writing, and he's good with. Not that there was any, unethical information sharing that was going on or anything like that. Of course. But still, I never would have made it.
I am certainly going to call here with Queen 10 of Diamonds, just as basically the same situation as the A7, only this hand's actually a little bit better to call with, I think. Not the best flop. I like the guy calls us out, by the way, calls me Lord Carver and then quits in orbit later. He's like, I changed my mind on that whole thing. Nice. Okay, whatever. Let's see a turn card. There's so many beautiful turn cards in the deck here. 10s and queens and jacks and 9s.
I'm going to call for the Jack of Diamonds, just for fun.
All right, that seems like a little greedy. I just want like the 9 of diamonds. How about the 7 of bricks right there, basically? So I think my plan is to, if he checks, maybe we bet. If he bets, I think we probably just fold at this point. I think it's actually semi-possible that he checks and gives up if he has a hand like ace-jack, ace-queen. Those hands might just check. I actually don't think he's necessarily going to barrel here too much with hands that we are beating. Right? I mean, what kind of hands does he have that he re-raises pre-flop, bets? Right? Was he? Yeah, this guy just got here, so it's 5-handed.
Picture time bank.
Yeah, he got here, just got here 5-handed. I'm pretty sure I'm folding, even though we're getting 3-1. I feel like he probably has us beat here pretty often. I mean, there aren't too many hands he can be semi-bluffing. He has to have like ace-jack or ace-queen exactly. I feel pretty good about folding there, to be honest. He definitely could be bluffing us. Anything.
We're
is
still
possible.
up 74 cents.
Yeah, we're still up 74 cents. That's right. Let's just fold one more. End on a positive note. 74 cents in the bank, Not everybody has 74 cents, dmoongirl, Gotta appreciate that.
True story.
That's right.
I stood up and told my German teacher to suck it with the hand motions.
Wow. That seems way worse than...
You think that's worse than dumb bitch?
I actually can't imagine that I used the word dumb and bitch. I might have just called her bitch or something. Like, you're being a bitch. Like, that seems very
And you're
reasonable.
dumb.
Yeah, and you're dumb. Calling a dumb bitch, that's like, it's like mixing two explosive things together to make something bigger,
Well, my German teacher, it was like the same thing where he
actually
first of all,
you're
loved
taking
me.
German. Is that like a northern thing?
No, you had 2 choices in my school. You took German or you took Spanish. And then
that's
if you took German, you got to go on a trip to Germany your junior year, and it was like a 2-week trip.
And if you went to Spanish, you got to go to like Taco Bell. Is that what you're comparing?
No, you actually did get to go somewhere, but it wasn't as cool of a trip. Like the German trip was like 2.5 weeks or something. The Spanish trip, it was like 5 days or something. Right. But then I got screwed out of going to that anyways. My softball coach.
You call him to suck it?
Jerk off.
Oh.
No.
they didn't put you on the list.
It was like it interfered. It like ran over with the first week of softball, and my softball coach. I played varsity softball.
Yeah.
And he told us that if we went, we would not start for the season. I was a pretty decent player.
Wow.
And so I decided to not go. But then a bunch of other girls went, and then they got to play anyway. So I am like still bitter to this day.
That's so unfair.
Yeah, I'm still bitter about it.
I would be bitter about it
too. Yeah. But anyways, so the funny thing about me telling my German teacher to suck it is that I have probably never deserved a detention more in my entire life, obviously.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me.
Uh-huh.
And then he felt bad, and 10 minutes later, he called me back, and he's like, I've decided not to give you the detention, but you need to. So I was like, wow. That is metagame 101. Like,
nice. That's so funny because the only time that I deserved it, the same thing, she took it back as well. Because, like I said, I feel like I recall her starting it.
She provoked it.
So whatever. And I actually have very fond memories of that woman, generally speaking, the teacher. I mean, if it's like fond, like those were good times. Back when we used to shriek at each other in 8th grade chemistry. Not necessarily fond in like a super warm memory.
No, I think we were probably like kind of the same because I was the kid that the teachers liked, and I was generally a good kid.
Yeah.
But I like tested my limits for sure. And you did not want to be a substitute teacher if I was in the class because I was a little asshole.
See,
if you were
I don't think we had that in common.
Okay. Were you
the
just generally the good kid?
Yeah, I was always like let's just relax kind of thing. I like to sit back and like see what's going on.
See, I don't know if you heard my kicked off a plane story.
I would take the over under on me being kicked off planes at like 0.2 for the life.
But really, I would have thought that was mine too. I mean, I would have thought it was more likely the plane crashes than I get
sober.
Kicked
we
off.
Probably have a very easy thing. We should do like a last longer bet, like who can go longest without getting kicked off of planes from here on out. I think. I think that's what we need to do, just to ensure the safety of our fellow air travelers.
My getting kicked off a plane career is over.
Okay. Fair,
but then again,
enough.
I never would have imagined that it was ever going to start.
Begin.
So
right, there's that as well.
Whatever. You're going to get me all fired up again.
Let's try to flop a set of 9s. Maybe that'll calm you down a little bit. Let's try to flop a set of 9s. I'm going to put in $4 here and try to see if we can make some extra 9s appear on the board here. So close, and it's the right color as well. I feel like it might go check here. It's possible if this guy has ace king, he might check back.
That was a quick check.
That was a quick check. He could have jacks as well. He also has jacks in his name, so it's very possible. I think checking is all right. I mean, we're sweating like ace, king, jacks on the river. Otherwise, we could check call. That also seems okay. I don't think if we bet, we actually get either player to fold better hands. Even like a 10 is probably not folding at this point. And in the past, I used to just lead here and just be like, oh, I'm betting out because I have the best hands. But I actually think that better hands are not folding than us, are not folding to us. And I guess we can somehow sometimes avoid mistakes like this. I mean, this guy could have a hand like king, jack of hearts, ace, jack of hearts, jack, I guess he could have like jack 9, but we have 2 9s. He could have, 10 X of hearts, which is crushing us. He could just have straight up like, all these hands I'm saying that make sense to me that he's basically pot-sized betting are in pretty good shape against us. They're like 30% or more. If he has a queen or a 10, then we're obviously even more crushed. Given that he bet a pot-sized bet, I think we just fold. My plan was pretty much to set mine here, and I don't think we can continue given that he bet pot. But I'm sad about that. Yeah.
Nah, I think it's pretty easy fold.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, even hands you're beating, you're not that far ahead of. So.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that much left behind. He's, if you're calling that, he's probably
surely
jamming river. So.
Surely.
That's
right. You ever play FIFA? You're a big FIFA player, dmoongirl? You know what FIFA even is? It's a soccer game.
Well, okay, I was like, that's like the soccer league, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
But I don't even play FIFA very much, but I have a lot of friends that do, and the only thing that really sticks in my mind from all my friends playing FIFA all the time is the ref or the commentator that just goes, surely! Every time that somebody tries to kick the ball into the hoop thing.
The ball
all the Europeans right now are tuning out. Oh my god, the hoop. Yeah. I know it's a goal. Come on, relax.
No, not a big
football
/ soccer.
Gotcha.
Although I did get into the World Cup.
Oh, it was exciting times. I wasn't really into it, but every day at the Poker News podcast, it actually blew my mind that during a couple of the games that the Rich and Donnie would actually bring an iPad to watch the game during the show. Like,
really?
What?
Would they acknowledge it during?
No, and then not acknowledge
just, like, out of
which
the
makes it
corner of
even
their
weirder. So it's one thing to have it on and be like, oh my god, that's so sick. But another thing to just have it on is just like a thing to have.
Like talking, and they're like, Danielle Coleman didn't give interviews, and I thought that was goal.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So, but there was less of the screaming, which I found weirder because you think, okay, you want to watch it so much, it's on during the show. Like, I don't think I've ever had anything on while I've been casting because I would lose my train of thought and I would feel like the videos would be, terrible and etc. These are things that bother me.
That would be some crazy multitasking.
I think I've had maybe like the prelims of a UFC event on that I didn't care about. That was probably the most I've ever done. But I don't know what my point is with this whole story, but it's just sharing, I guess. Sharing is caring. That's right.
I'll sometimes watch like some stuff in the background, but it can't be something I have to actually focus on. And then even then, I feel like my game definitely suffers.
Right. We were actually just talking before about how you said you made the bold and untrue statement that you thought that if you didn't focus whatsoever on poker that you wouldn't be a winner. And I mean, I guess that's mostly true. If I was 9 tabling other things and 1 tabling poker, I probably wouldn't be a winner either.
I just feel like my specific style of play, like I truly have to pay attention to what's going on at the table. Like when I'm doing this and I'm clicking the button with the bankroll here for you and I'm talking, I feel like I'm not in my zone. I feel like I go to like ABC a little more,
Of course. But that's also a matter of practice because you get better at talking and clicking if you do it 200 times.
I suppose maybe I would get better at it, but
maybe you should practice. The fans want it.
They probably don't want it with your bankroll.
Oh yeah, maybe not, but who cares? It's only money.
Can I offer the Run It Up Legion a free roll? Can I be like, if I win, it goes to the bankroll?
And if you lose,
is that is that against the spirit of the challenge?
I think that's against the spirit of the challenge. Boo. But whatever. People want to see Run It Up to D-Moon become a spin-off, I think. By the time this is over, people are going to be sending in like, I don't know, what's a D-Moon-ish item people can send? I don't know, Crescent crescent cookies.
I was thinking something else. I was thinking we're gonna get like screenshots of people's ass cracks.
What?
Moon,
oh,
you know?
Okay,
like
yeah, I guess.
You're not getting it?
Yeah, okay, obviously.
You gotta understand that I've lived with this last name like essentially my entire life. So I naturally, I can tell you right now, that's where people's thoughts go. Yeah.
That's right, I get it.
That and
I really
jokes.
like Somerville. It's very hard to do anything with Somerville for the most part.
That's a pretty solid last name.
It's very,
I mean, I liked Moon though. It's just.
I like, Moon is great.
Yeah. It's obviously. Like a unique, and now I'm Andersen and there's like, what a horrible, everybody's freaking Andersen.
Also with an E.
Yeah, and then it's got to be spelled weird, and so it's like,
Yeah, I feel you. Did you ever have any thought to just saying, listen, I'm gonna be a new age rebel and just be my own name. I'm just gonna be Moon.
You know, I actually think that had we gotten married later in life, because my husband would have been like totally on board with that. He'd have been like, okay, whatever. But it was just kind of like the convenience of it, and then you have a kid, and they want the same last name as my kid,
that's right.
That type of thing. So it's kind of
like,
it just wasn't really that important to me.
Yeah.
And plus, I feel like the Moon kind of stuck with me anyways as a result of poker, really. So
yeah, right.
Even though I'm not technically Moon Andersen, I'm generally known as.
Still got that dmoongirl.
Yeah.
dmoongirl
still
vibe.
Rocking the Moon.
I thought about changing my name to JCarver a few years ago. And by thought about, I mean like for about 30 seconds. I mean, like I thought about it because I was like, people always think my name is JCarver anyway. And to be honest, like Somerville is fine. But, I could just be JCarver and then who would ever know?
Carver's an okay last name too. I mean,
yeah, Carver's totally fine. What's wrong with Carver?
But
several luminaries in the historical matrix have been last name Carver. George Washington Carver.
I was not aware.
Yeah, he was the guy that did all the peanut stuff. And other things, I'm sure.
Something.
Yeah, he didn't. I feel like I don't know. I'm not a historian, believe it or not.
Yeah, listen, I got nothing for you on this
one. Should we play a fun game, everyone? Let's do George Washington Carver history trivia. Yay! Let's run up to the Moon Week and learn about Peanut Week. All right, maybe not.
And we're done.
Okay, let's try to win this hand with 8-9 suited.
This is one of my favorite hands.
Well, I'm gonna be raising since this guy limped. This is definitely one of those hands we can raise it up with. Could have made it $1.75 or $2, but I like to be efficient. I just want to. It's Mitt Romney. I just make it $1 more. Just steal it. Just take it all. If Mitt Romney folds the button, which he doesn't do, shockingly, we would have probably limped that hand. I still am with the old. I don't just fold my small blind. I like to just limp in there and just get in the streets and just wallow in there and fight.
Yeah. Do you have any range of folding your small blind?
Oh, sure. Especially if they're like, and I'd rather open 9-6 a lot of times than like complete with 9-6 than the small blind, obviously.
Right.
This is actually a little on the tight side, I think, to fold that there, but yeah, if I'm playing a guy in the big blind, I think the best part about my poker game is that I really try to adapt and adjust to everybody, which I think I actually do worse online than I do live, and I think everybody does worse online than live. But
I think I'm the exception.
You think you're the opposite? Definitely it could be true. And I also think that years ago I felt like I was better at it than my opponents, whereas I think these days people are better with it. But I still think that the thing that I'm best at is like adjusting and tweaking my strategies based on like, okay, so the big blind is folding a lot, so I'm going to start raising some more. The big blind makes a lot of mistakes post flop, so we do that. Right. And I've been lucky enough in the last few months to have a bunch of conversations with Galen Hall, who is like absolutely next level wizard and genius.
Too smart for his own good.
Too smart for his own good sometimes, because sometimes he does things that are just like downright silly. But he very often basically has made a living off of finding other people's uncomfortable zones and then forcing them in there as many times as possible, doing things like check raising all in on rivers. And let's say that even if you're a relatively decent, regular tournament player, if you're used to raising to 2 times or 3 times the blind and having your opponents re-raise to 8 or 9 times the blind and then post-flop doing a certain thing, and people typically follow convention to some degree.
Right.
So when you do things like start making really small re-raises, so what do you do when somebody makes it 1.8x instead of 3x when you open? What do you do when somebody does have a very heavy check raise strategy post-flop or whatever it is? Most people don't know what to do, and when they don't know what to do, they usually play face up, which is great if you're creative and
No, I think there's a lot of merit to that. I always try and look at like, what do people do that irritates the piss out of me, you know?
Right.
And then I try and like
turn the tables.
Incorporate that into my game, which is easier said than done.
Of course.
But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Very often
I agree. Like as far as, you know, I think that people, especially I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems that at a lot of like live poker tournaments, whatever the first person opens for, people that's like the standard. And so that's like the, you know, so if the first person opens for, you know, 2.5, it seems like people do that, you know, and then sure. So yeah, I agree. I like to mix it up.
For sure. I think it's definitely the optimal way to go for sure. Certainly worth defending here in the small blind. I got a king. King is certainly good enough to call with. Flush draw. Hello.
I've noticed you limp in the small blind a lot more than I
limp in the small blind with about 90% of my hands. Even my big hands, I limp in the small blind.
And do you just like, you know, is your general strategy, you're just leading if you even catch a semblance, anything, or just if it's a dry board? Like,
it kind of depends a little bit on our opponent and such. But for the most part, I've found that most people typically don't seem to fight very much for the pots when they're limped, and that I can do work after that. I've really only employed it heavily in tournaments with antes, because I feel like it is such another level of overlay that people, when you raise out of the small blind, if you raise to like 2x or 2.2x these days, like, which is what like the cool kids are doing out of the small blind, people in the big blind are correctly calling. Like people know at this point to say, oh, there are antes, I'm in the blind, I have to call one big blind to win 40 million bets, so I'm going to call. So to me, instead of playing a bigger pot out of position with the hand that, you know,
when they're going to call anyways.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Their hand is wide, our hand is wide, they're not going to fold very much. You know, it's better to limp, and we're playing a much smaller pot. I'm making no mistakes pre-flop. I can call with hands like literally 9 deuce offsuit, because I'm getting like 4.5 to 1, because it's totally fine against a random hand in the big blind. And then just play post-flop. And obviously position sucks, but you're playing for a small pot. So people are less committed.
Are you like balancing by limping with your big hands as well?
Yeah, for sure. And especially against better players, absolutely. Yeah. Against worse players who don't know, don't care, don't notice, then you know, it doesn't make a difference. But I actually also have been messing around with the next rage in poker as far as tournament poker goes, which is limping the button. So I saw that a bunch this summer, and at first I was like laughing a lot, because I was just like, what? How could this possibly be great? And then it busted me in the 25K. It wasn't like the guy who limped the button, Max, I think it was Max or Sam Greenwood, really, really smart player, very good at tournaments. He limps button, small blind completes. I checked big blind with like queen 4. I don't remember exactly what I had, but it was like queen 4, a low queen, and it comes like queen 10 8 or something like that, and then the small blind leads, and I have like 12 big blinds, so I'm just all in, I guess, and then button folds, and small blind calls with king queen jack or something like that. So I was pretty much drawing pretty slim, and I busted there. And I don't think like you can take that and say, oh, limping button is great, but it made me start thinking about it and be like, what does that actually do if you limp button in that spot? How do people react to that? And there are some really cool things you can do with it, where like during the World Series at some point I limped like ace jack on the button against two guys who had like 18 and 25 big blinds. So one guy definitely had too much to shove over a raise, and the other guy could if he wanted to. But I tried limping. I think the first guy just like jammed. I feel like jammed or made a big raise or whatever it is. People just don't know what to do against it. Right. And that's why I kind of like testing it out to some degree. People never think you're strong the first time you do it.
I think we talked about this once, but I think I told you about that there was like a heads up opponent I played in cap that I started to adapt the strategy of I limped literally 100% of buttons, and he just got frustrated and would just, you know, jam all in with 9-6.
I think we could do two things here. We could just call, or we could re-raise. I've actually got to the place in my life where I like to just raise, get it in. We have 80 big blinds with pocket eights here. You know, it obviously sucks a little bit, but, you know, this guy is called between us, so this might have induced this to be lighter than normal. He's re-raised us before already once. I think this guy has played a bunch. I recognize him, generally speaking. Can't be too bad to raise, get it in here. Pocket eights is not really a super great hand to just call. We'd just be set mining, which is okay, but not great. I'd be more inclined to call if we had, like, queens, I think. Which are a little bit stronger and less likely to get sucked down on, I think. But we did it. Anyway.
We did it.
I used to defend this all the time. Couldn't stop myself. And I've recently started stopping myself sometimes. It's really hard because I'm getting 3-1, you know. That really hurts me to fold this hand, and I almost never do. And in fact, I already kind of regret it a little bit. But
it hurt?
Hurts a little bit.
Died a little inside?
It really hurts me to fold any hand.
An angel lost its wings.
Did you know that you can't win if you fold?
Really? Shocking.
That's what you guys watch.
The things you know.
The things you learn here on Run It Up.
We are just spouting information to the masses.
That's right.
Guys, don't pay for those training sites.
That's right. You don't need that.
We got it for you right here.
We got it right here. RunItUp.tv. Yeah. No big deal.
Run it once what?
That's right. Who needs it? Who needs it? I gotta tell you, Run It Once is the only subscription training site that I've watched recently. They do some good content, but on the opposite end of the spectrum from what I'm trying to do here.
I have actually never subscribed to a training site.
Wow. Not even like Deuces Cracked? Like you think that you guys would be like cousins or somehow?
I mean, Jay's my boy, but
I don't need no training.
No, I do. I think it's something that like that's it. Okay, I feel like I need to really start like actually working on my poker game because to be honest,
is that why you're here?
I've been hella lazy. Like, I've just gotten by just by playing hands in my career, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm like studying my database, and I'm reading books, and I'm in strategy groups," and I'm like,
"Right,
I play a couple hours a day."
Yeah, right.
How's that?
I definitely go through phases where I like try to learn a lot, and then phases where I just coast. And during Run It Up, actually, I feel like was a lot of coasting. But in the last few months, I feel like I've done a lot of absorbing. We'll see how that actually works out. That's right. Isn't that great? I love doing this. People don't understand how much fun this is.
And I got nice nails.
Oh, you got nice nails. I like check raising on boards like this sometimes, not always, of course, but. I think check calling creates some weird situations. He barrels very often on the variety of overcards. We don't know what we're going to do really there. If we just check raise and he folds hands like Jack 10 or Queen 10, well, I guess Queen 10 is fine to call. But if we check raise, he folds hands like two overcards, which are great for us. We don't really want those hands just to turn and spike. We don't make mistakes on various turns and rivers. With our bottom pair there. Every once in a while, he folds a better hand than us, like a better bottom pair, maybe the second pair every once in a while. Not too often, I think. Yeah, those are my reasons.
I already forgot what hand we were talking about.
Well, the good news is if you forgot the hand you're watching, you can just go right back and just rewatch it.
This.
No big deal. It's fine. You know, I
didn't know that we were actually here to play poker.
No, we're just hanging out with a fireplace in our pajamas. Or at least I would have usually the other day, you know?
Yeah, this is a nice shirt. This is not pajamas.
No. Well,
pajama print.
This is going to be the last hand of this session. I guess you guys will get to see our hand in the big blind before we like officially wrap it up. But we're going to continue playing the session here. Stock $8 right now, but ain't no thing. It's just how the roller coaster goes. You got to go down a little before you know, that's right. So we'll be back tomorrow to wrap up Run It Up to D-Moon Week. If you've been enjoying it, tweet dmoongirl and say, I hope dmoongirl gets her life together and wins some money here before the end of the show, and then Jason has to do all the hard work. And this is why you invite Dan O'Brien Poker instead.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
That was harsh.
That was a very harsh tweet you guys just wrote, so you should write some nice things as well. And tweet at dmoongirl, at Jason Somerville. Don't forget you can check out everything Run It Up related, runitup.com, runup.com/store if you want to buy a sweet Run It Up t-shirt like the one that is on the fellow behind me. All right, extra bonus hands for the fans since we've been talking this all time.
Hashtag for the fans.
Hashtag for the fans. Let's see if the Jack 8 Opsy can do some work here.
Butthurt right now.
Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. We'll have to resolve that.
Don't turn on me, Legion.
During these.
Don't do that.
All right. Well, I will fold this hand and wipe the tears from my eyes.
That's what you get.
That's what we get. And
karma,
we'll see you guys back for more tomorrow. Peace. We'll take the tighter route and just say no thank you. Right? Can't win them all.
Sure.
I
would jam onto that. Sure. We're going to say this person's name is Dan.
Dan.
This person is a very successful, high-stakes poker player.
Okay, so it's definitely not Dan O'Brien.
Definitely not Dan O'Brien. I have this ready for when the 10 comes.